What is going on, everybody? This is Owen here, and today we're finally going to be talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a direct sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. Oddly enough, this is actually the second time they've done this. I think I need to explain real quick. So the original film has three sequels: Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, which is also called The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Eventually, in 2003, we received a reboot film, simply just called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This would eventually receive a prequel film called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. Years later, in 2013, we received Texas Chainsaw 3D, which is a direct sequel to the original film, so this is the first direct sequel we got. Then in 2017, we got Leatherface, which is a prequel to the original film, but from what I've heard, this maintains continuity with 3D. And then finally, this year, we got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you're confused at all at what I just said, here's a little picture on screen to sort of demonstrate how the franchise is sort of working right now. As crazy as it is, it could be worse. It could be Halloween. Alright, so moving on from that, let's talk about this new movie. So I did not know that this was going to be a thing until like a few months ago. I was just scrolling through Google one day and then an article popped up about it, and then I did some research and it turns out they were making a new one and they had a trailer out. And the trailer that I saw looked pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, and I was a little excited for this movie. I talked about the original movie before on the channel, and if you haven't seen that video, click the link in the description below, it'll take you right to that. In that video, I talked about how much I loved it and how it tried to focus more on the scares rather than the kills, and how I appreciated it for doing that because, films nowadays don't really do that. They tend to focus on the kills now instead of the scares. And I was hoping that this new film would realize that and go for that. And this film did not do that whatsoever. The characters in this movie are really poorly written. Normally when I say that, I usually mean how, they're written in a way where they go against their instincts just so the plot can move forward, or they're meant to be likable, but they're written in a way where they're very unlikable. In this case, when I say they're written poorly, I pretty much mean they weren't written at all. In the group of people that we're following, two of them are very famous on social media. They're influencers, as the description on Netflix calls them. There's the famous guy, and that's all you need to know about him. He's famous, and he has a girlfriend who's going to be his future wife, and that's everything we know about her. There's the famous girl, that's all we know about her, and she has a sister who I actually do really like in this movie. Probably because she's the most interesting out of all of them, because she's actually has some writing to her. Apparently she was a survivor of a school shooting, and so now she's kind of against guns, and she doesn't want to be there, blah blah blah. Still, not a whole lot of good writing to her, but it's something at least. Along with the characters, the writing in this movie was terrible. There's this one scene, I'm sure you've probably seen it in the trailers, where Leatherface, he gets on a bus and there's all these people around him and they start taking out their phones to record him, and this one dude in the front is like, "Do anything and you're canceled, bro." Come on, man. Do the writers of this movie really think that we're idiots, and that if we're ever put in a situation where a guy wearing a human face, holding a chainsaw, is face to face with us, our first instinct is to pull out our phone and start recording? Also, you know for a fact that that line was just added in by an adult who has no idea what it means. I'm totally sure Leatherface has an Instagram account. There's also the scene where we see the return of Sally Hardesty, which you think would be really cool, but she's there for only like 5 seconds, because the second she shows up, she dies. To sum things up, this movie just feels like a clone of Halloween 2018. Not a perfect clone, though. More like a first failed attempt clone, where the legs are much more longer than they should be and has like an arm kind of coming out of it's bad is what I'm saying. This movie was definitely trying to piggyback off the success that Halloween 2018 had. However, unlike this movie, Halloween 2018 was actually good. All in all, this movie's bad. The characters are poorly written, the story is terrible, and in the end, it feels nothing like the original film. that's going to be it for this video. I know this was probably a lot more shorter. There just wasn't really too much to talk about. Anyways, make sure to leave some suggestions down in the comments below for what you might want to see next on the channel, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will see you all later.